Welcome to Backyard Cigars, and I'm actually doing this video for a friend by the name of Juan. I'm dedicating this video to Juan. One of the first conversations Juan and I had when we started talking about cigars were humidity issues and how he just couldn't get a grip on his humidity levels, and he just everything he tried. I mean, this is before I recommended Boveda bags. I'm now actually transitioning to the heartfelt beads. They're not in here yet, but I'll have a conversation with him as well about the heartfelt beads. Nothing against the Boveda bags. They do add up in cost. Rehydrating them doesn't always bring them back exactly the way that they were when you purchased them brand new. It's sort of like how every time Sam and Dean got killed and brought back, something just didn't quite come back the same. And it is the same issue with the Boveda bags when you rehydrate them. And not that they won't work if you rehydrate them. Sure, they'll work. But the fluctuations and the levels or the effectiveness of the Boveda bag will vary. And you can figure it out and work it out and make it work, obviously. But it can get a little bit troubling. So this is not about Boveda bags that have been rehydrated, but this is just about Boveda bags in general, and how the humidity in your humidor may or may not react to the ambient temperature and humidity. So before, about 2 days ago, this was reading 63, dipping as low as 62. Now, technically, that's not the worst thing in the world. You're still safe at that range, but not for all cigars. And generally, you don't want your cigars to go down that low, especially if you're more comfortable with your cigars in a certain range. So if you've gotten used to your cigars in the, let's just say, the 65 to 67 range, you have an expectation based on that humidity. And when you're dipping down to the low 60s, even if it's safe, it may not be your preferred humidity level, which is fine. It's my case as well, because I tend to like 65 to 67. I don't have a problem if I see it dip to 64 every now and then, but winter's here and the dry weather is here as well, and that complicates the situation. So when I see my humidity levels dropping down to 62, it tells me one of two things. One, I may need to either give this humidor a boost, which means removing all of the cigars, placing them somewhere safely for just a short period of time, maybe a day, maybe just a few hours, and sponging down the interior of the humidor, everything except the sides here, the lids on. You don't want to humidify that. You don't want to wipe that down with a sponge, but everything else you want to do inside and give it a little boost for the wintertime. Now, the more expensive humidors are not really going to have that issue. As a matter of fact, the more expensive humidors are probably going to list in the instructions that you should not wipe it down with a sponge of, you just shouldn't do that, because this is what they're telling you. The quality of their cedar, the quality of their humidor doesn't require that. So no sponge with distilled water. But this is a mid-range, or for some folks, I would just say it could be considered a cheap Humidor. Not over $100. Good construction, good quality, good bang for your buck, but definitely not the most expensive humidor. So definitely you can, with the cheaper humidors, you can feel free to sponge them down lightly with distilled water to give them a boost. Now, the last time I gave this baby a boost was last year. And it was the first time that I had given it a boost since its initial seasoning 2 years before that. So I think that's pretty good, and it held up pretty well before it needed a boost. It may need another boost this year. We'll wait and see on that. But before I get to that point where I remove all of the cigars and start to make changes, this is what I'll do. So it was reading 63, 62, 63, and it had 65 RH Boveda bags inside. Now on the top is where I like to keep most of my Connecticut shade wrappers, my lighter color wrappers. Right now you're seeing some Maduros on top, but that's just because that came in from the new haul and I haven't really found a space for them in the bottom section where all the Maduros are at. Now for the Maduros, I don't mind them being 64, 65. Winter, summer, spring, and fall, that's fine. But with the Connecticut shade wrappers, I feel they need a little bit more humidity. They need at least a 66, a 67 minimum. I don't like it at 65 for them, although they are secure at 65 and will smoke perfectly fine. I just like a touch bit more humidity because as winter progresses and the weather gets drier, that 65 will eventually drop. And I just want to get ahead of it. So it had a few bags of 65 RH Boveda bags in here, and it was reading 62, 63. So before I give it a boost, I said, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace these 65 RH Boveda bags with 69 RH. Give it a day or two to settle out and see where things go. Now, as you can see, that just went up to 66. So now you have the same amount of Boveda bags that you had before, but now they're all 69 RH. And my reading is 65 to 66. That's what I've been getting. So even though I have a sufficient amount of Boveda bags of 69 RH at the top, I'm still not getting to 69. And these are new Boveda bags. I'm not getting there. Part of it is the amount of cigars that you have. The other is the ambient temperature and the humidity in the air. And again, like I said, the other reason that you might have that issue is when your humidor needs a boost. I really don't think this needs a boost. I gave it one last year. I don't think it needs one this year. And so I'm confident that this is just an issue of letting this humidor settle with the 69 RH. In time, as winter progresses, I may need to switch from these 69 RH bags to 72s. And I'm not going to get a 72 RH level. I'm not even going to get a 70. I may get a 68. I may get a 69. But I'm not, I know that's what she said. But what I'm saying is, these RH bags, they don't guarantee that you're going to get that exactly. You take two cigars, you put them in a zip bag with a 69 RH level, and yeah, for the first few days, you may actually get 68, 69. 2 cigars, 3 cigars, 4 cigars. And then what happens is, after some time, you may get over 70. And you're thinking, well, I've got it at 60, I have 69 RH bag in my zip bag. And despite that, my RH is going above 70. Why is that? Well, it just has to do with the humidity, and zip bags, they don't breathe as well as humidors do. They don't have the cedar. So they're a different case altogether. With zip bags, like I've said in the past, I like to go lower because the temperature in that zip bag is just it's gonna go up more than it would in a humidor. So that's just trial and error, experience of trying different things. But for the most part, I like to mess around with the different RH levels and find what works for me. Got to make the point that if you're overstuffing your humidor, you're going to run into issues. I don't think this humidor is overstuffed. I think this humidor is just about right. And for me, I think right now it's just winter. The seasonal change is taking effect. So seeing that go to 66 right now, I'm a little more comfortable, and I'm not going to make the change to the 72 RH. I'll wait till the winter gets a little drier, and we've got plenty of winter left. And when that time comes, I'll make the change. But I almost know that I'm going to have to because I do it every year. I go from 65 in the summer, 69 in the fall, and then 72 in the deep of winter. So there you have it, folks. Just something that I've noticed and experienced. And when I make my transition to heartfelt beats, quite a number of you cigar reviewers out there who are friends of mine on YouTube use them and have talked to me about them and swear by them. And I can see why. I thought about them many years ago. The prices have dropped on them considerably. They're much more affordable. They last a lot longer. Again, nothing wrong with the Boveda bag. But depending on the size of your collection and the amount of cigars that you have and the amount of packets that you're going to need, it can add up. And I know that it's worth the investment to keep them safe, but even with the reliability of Boveda bags, they are not 100% guaranteed to give you the number that you want. So this is just part of owning a humidor and owning cigars and collecting and enjoying and loving cigars, and it all goes with the territory. It shouldn't be something that should freak you out or send you into fits. It should be something that you thoroughly enjoy looking into and experimenting with and doing research on if need be, and just having fun with it until you find that happy medium for your particular humidor, because that's another factor. Every humidor is different. Some humidors hold humidity differently. I've mentioned in past videos that my Daniel Marshall humidor really holds humidity in a way that none of my humidors hold humidity. And a lot of it has to do with the construction and the quality of the cedar. The fact that it's an actual cedar box. The whole humidor is made out of cedar. Whereas in this case, this humidor has paneling, sheets of cedar. Nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of people prefer it. I tend to enjoy humidors like this myself because they're cheaper and you can still get that great cedar aroma, and you don't need to have the box completely made out of cedar. So there you have it, folks. Thank you for watching this humidor review on Backyard Cigars. Yeah, I'll give you a little peek. Sure, why not? Here you go. Okay. Some of these came in from the hall. And, the CEO Potomac. This is a Gran Habano El Conquistador or La Conquista. This is a aging room bin number 2, Pura Cepa. This is an aging room bin number 1. And this is a fabulous cigar. Not easy to get a hold of now. It's very limited now. So, get them if you can. Okay, so you've got Macnudo Hyde Park, Oliva. You've got a Sucker King Punch Hit. You've got a Devil's Night by Asylum. You've got a Cane Daytona. You've got a Colombia Tinto by CAO. And just a quick, this isn't a humidor tour, but I figure why not since you're here. This is the Hamlet by Rocky Patel, Salomon size. Beautiful cigar. Love it. Yeah, there's a Padron in there somewhere. Just give a quick peek at the Maduro section down here. And as you can see there, this might be a little extra, right? I might have a few more cigars in this bottom section that I need. I'm happy with a 66 for my Maduros. I much rather prefer when it's on the button 64, 65, but 66 is very good. I'm using here 1, 2, 3, 4 Boveda bags, the large kinds, and no, you can use as many as you want. It's fine, especially when you've got a lot of them. You might as well use them because the more you have, the longer they last, and obviously the more regulated the humidity will be. But again, no guarantees here. You know, you got a Punch Diablo here. You got another Punch Signature, Tempest, New World Navigante by AJ, an Oliva, Double Maduro. You've got some Ernesto Perez Carillo, El Senador here. Very good cigars. You've got some Prensados there from Alec Bradley, Tempest. You've got some Lanceros in here and some Asian Cuatros. It's a good selection down there for the Maduros, and I try to, like I said, keep them at that 65, 66 RH. The top, I actually would prefer it to be a little bit more than 66 for the Connecticut's. I would probably prefer a 68, 69. I know. But, and you know, some people say, well, how can you separate? Well, you know what I do? There are vents underneath this level here, and I cut those vents off by putting the big packs of Boveda on those vents on both ends, and that kind of just stops the circulation of the air there, so you don't have those two humidity levels competing against one another. You don't have, say for example, if I were to put 72s up here, I could do it. Sure, I could do it and raise the humidity up on top, and the bottom would still stay with the 69 RH level. And I wouldn't be worried about it because I'm kind of closing off the vents. Sure, you get some breathing along the edges here, but that's healthy, that's fine. So yeah, you can definitely do the two humidities. A lot of people have said, no, you can't. You're going to have two humidities competing against each other, not if you close off those vents. If you do that, then you're good. And I've done it, and it's worked. Try it for yourself. See how it goes. Thank you, folks, for watching Backyard Cigars. Till next time, see you.